Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of the All Around Growth Podcast. My name is Rob Kaiser, and I am your host. Today is Monday, January 17th, 2022, and this is episode number 264 of a show that provides insight and tools to build the life and homestead of your dreams. And today, we're not really doing either of those. We're not really going to look at insight and tools to build the homestead of our dreams. I've got the day off today. I decided to take the day off because we got probably 8 inches of snow out there. And after shoveling the walkway and some areas for my parents and a little path for Cody, I decided that we would mix it up and do something different, something that I've been thinking about, not quite in a different way, or not quite this way. I've been thinking about doing something with Twitter a little differently, but nevertheless, let's take a look at what's trending on Twitter. All right, so trends for me, if I pull that up on Twitter, I see what's trending in entertainment. Joe Rogan. And looks like more than 270 medical experts call out Spotify and Joe Rogan for spreading misinformation. What's trending in the United States? Savannah James. LeBron James' wife Savannah wows fans with her latest photo on Instagram. Oh, all right. Very good. And what else is trending in the United States? We've got Mike Todd, lead pastor of Transformation Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Michael Todd rubs his spit on another person's face during a sermon. Well, okay. And then we've also got critical race theory trending in the United States. Okay, and then in what's happening, we'll take I'll read these headlines real quick, and then I'll pick something to read upon a little bit. According to Breezy Scroll, the Credit Suisse chairman resigns over COVID-19 violations. We've got COVID-19 updates for the U.S. And Breezy Scroll also says the wealth of the world's 10 richest men doubled to 1.5 trillion during the pandemic, according to Oxfam. And all the latest from January, that's soccer. Sorry guys, I can't say I'm all that interested in football or any other sports ball for that matter. In the Times Travel, we read, is the Dead Sea really dead? And then we see again, COVID-19, more than 270 medical experts call out Spotify and Joe Rogan for spreading COVID-19 misinformation. Oh. Then we've got more sports news. Happy birthday, Dwayne Wade. Is that The Rock? I don't know. No, that's Dwayne Johnson. Yeah. Anyways. And then we've got a headline on cricket. The Ashes. The Australia seals a 146-run victory in the final test to clinch a 4-0 series win. Excellent. Very good. All right. So that's what's trending on Twitter. A lot of talk about Joe Rogan. A lot of talk about COVID-19 misinformation. Some other information, some other trending topics about LeBron James and some ridiculous pastor in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ugh, it's disgusting. I mean, you know what else is disgusting? I don't want to turn this into a rant. So what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about these medical experts calling out Spotify and Joe Rogan for spreading misinformation. So let me read this paragraph that starts the article. In an open letter published on January 10th, more than 270 medical experts called on Spotify to take action against the spread of misinformation on its platform, specifically in relation to the podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. According to the Washington Post, Rogan, who has been on the line for spreading false information regarding COVID-19 in the past, has an exclusive deal with Spotify to publish his podcast, which has an audience of more than 11 million per Rolling Stone. Experts are not calling for the removal of Rogan's podcast in the letter, but instead ask the streaming service to immediately establish a clear and public policy to moderate misinformation on its platform. All right. There's so much to talk about here. There's so much to talk about with COVID-19. I don't even know where to begin. What I've said from the very beginning, based on the information that I've had available to me, is that this is effectively a cold that affects different demographics differently. Some more severely than others, and the effects or the symptoms associated with this particular strain are definitely exacerbated by comorbidities, which most people who experience, or at least are diagnosed positive, have. All right? So there's that. This is basic. This is basic. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a professional. But I kind of base some of what I've learned, what I take in on my own experiences, having caught the swine flu back in 2009. Yes, H1N1, where I myself was quarantined in a hospital in Massachusetts while I was out on a project there, working on a FEMA ice storm debris cleanup. Anyways, that was kind of a miserable experience, but a very similar in that the H1N1 was a variant of something that we'd experienced before, as is this. This is a SARS-CoV virus, a severe acute respiratory syndrome virus. We've experienced these before. The fact of the matter is, as far as I know, most common colds are some variant of a strain of a rhinovirus or a coronavirus. And that is what COVID-19 is, as well as all of its different variants to date and all of the subsequent variants to roll out in the future. Because what is going on right now isn't about the virus. It isn't about the control of or the mitigation of the spread of the virus. If it were, these vaccines would be addressing it, but it's not. And what's happening is, as far as I can tell, there doesn't seem to be as much benefit to receiving them as one might think, as one were originally claimed. You can look back and see how the talking heads have changed what they've been saying over time. And this is what's not something that seems to be, this is what is something that seems to be not wholly understood by a lot of people. The fact that what is being said is changing, that is science. But people are turning this idea of science and trusting science into this ideology akin to religion, and that is mildly terrifying. And so this open letter where these 270 plus medical experts are calling out about this misinformation, right? Who are these medical experts? And who decides what misinformation is? Okay? Why do we need, in this day and age, do we really need more than 270 medical experts to call out on Spotify? Do we really need 270 medical experts to serve as the ministry of truth, to call out on platforms regarding what they perceive as misinformation? What's the motivation? What's driving all of this? I decided the other day to watch one of these canceled Joe Rogan podcasts. There have been several that have been pulled off of YouTube. One was Dr. Malone. The other was this doctor, I can't even remember his name. That's the one I watched. And I was expecting to see, some very extreme viewpoints and perspectives, and I didn't. I'm not a big Joe Rogan content consumer. I mean, don't get me wrong, there have been some great episodes with great people being interviewed in the past, but to try to consume all of that content in that long form 3+ hour oftentimes discussion is just difficult with everything else going on and everything else that I want to consume and create. So there's that. But this large group of medical experts, more than 270 medical experts, calling out on Spotify to immediately establish a clear and public policy to moderate misinformation on its platform. Censorship is a very it's something that isn't to be taken lightly. I'll just say that, because I really don't know what else to say. I'm going to go ahead and read the next paragraph, because I guess that's it. It's 2 paragraphs. In an open letter published Monday, more than 270 medical professionals urge Spotify to stop enabling its hosted media to damage public trust in scientific research and sow doubt in the credibility of data-driven guidance. Rogan, whose show reaches an estimated audience of 11 million people an episode, has repeatedly downplayed the need for coronavirus vaccines and used his platform to flirt with misinformation about COVID-19. So 270 plus medical professionals, along with the teams of people that support them, have come together and joined forces to write an open letter urging Spotify to take action, because what Joe Rogan has done is as follows. He has repeatedly downplayed the need for coronavirus vaccines and used his platform to flirt with misinformation. So basically, he's doing 2 things. He's downplaying the need to receive a medical procedure, and he's used his platform to, quote, flirt with misinformation. So it's not even so much that he's actively spreading misinformation, but he's using the platform to flirt with it. If this pandemic was so serious, would these 270 plus medical professionals not feel it more appropriate to spend their time on solving the actual problems that said pandemic is causing, instead of wasting their time looking for problems to solve, because the actual problem here, as outlined, is we're talking about a man, a comedian, and a UFC commentator who has a podcast, who has repeatedly downplayed the need for coronavirus vaccines and used his platform to flirt with misinformation. This is what the medical establishment is doing and spending its time on. This is the medical establishment that we trust, that we put our faith in for health care, health insurance. You see, this is what's trending. This is what is popular in modern culture. I'm glad I don't talk about this stuff very often, because when I think about the fact that this is what's trending, this indicates to me that this is a large part of why we have the problems that we have. Because this is where we focus our time, effort, and energy on. Things that don't even matter. If we focused our time, effort, and energy on our own health, for example, and living a balanced life, many of us would get to the point where we realize that. I don't know. That's all I've got to say on what's trending. So if you like what you hear, then I would encourage you to check out the show notes. I'll go ahead and put in some links to everything I mentioned today, including that which I spent a lot of time speaking about, this article in the Washington Post. And yeah, if you like what you hear, you can join the dialogue with me and others on Telegram at t.me/allaroundgrowth. That is where we are most active. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at allaroundgrowth. And we are somewhat active on Facebook. I recently created a Facebook page that is. So if you're active on Facebook, go ahead, give it a like. There is a small group there, but like I said, we are most active on Telegram at t.me/allaroundgrowth. So I look forward to catching you on another episode tomorrow. Who knows where it will be, whether it's in the truck or back here in the office. Whatever the case may be, look forward to it. We'll see you then. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.